that united us, and unfortunately, those things are not things that we should be proud of. We are united by the unemployment in this country. We are united by the killings that go on. So the fact when this one is willing to put it, and you're sitting there unarmed, they wouldn't care what part of the country you are from. We are united, unfortunately, by the infant mortality and the maternal mortality. Whether you are from Kano, I was born in Kano, I grew up in Kwankwaso, and whether I'm from Niger, where my parents are, the same problem are the same. I always say to every Nigerian, when you fly across the nation, just look out of your window. Every part looks the same, because at the end of the day, the poverty is the same. So every time they tell us that they're not united, there are certain people who are benefiting from that disunity. And it's time for us to stand and to say as everyone that indeed that unity is something that we must unite across the Niger, whether in the west, or in the east, or in the south, or in the north. We are Nigerians, and at every point in time, that must be acknowledged. And I say something all the time, that no Nigerian is more Nigerian than anyone. And in this country, no Nigerian is more Nigerian than anyone. And we must have a Nigeria. We must have a Nigeria. We must have a Nigeria. We have to have nobody can become somebody without knowing anything. I repeat, and I say, we must have a Nigeria where the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anything. And until we have that, there cannot be peace. You see that quote? And all people always say, Aisha, that's your fault. No, we didn't. It was Mother Aminu that was attributed to her saying that Nigeria will not know peace until the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anyone. We all can see that we have a nation where we do not have peace. Because when everybody is taking along, no one is taking along. This country that we have, today I was asked to speak about unity. And I will say to every one of you, earlier on, is that we are united by the things that are not supposed to be. We are united by the things that are not indices that countries are proud of. When can we be united by the great things? I went to wake up as someone who was born in Kano. Hai wani Kano, Hausa. Hai wani Kano, Girman Kano, Hausa, Hausa, Kano. Let's say hai wani Kano, Girman Kano, Hausa, Hausa, Kano.
Sai an yi, arewa toya! Mutanen
Our people have landed. People say to me, I shall no longer see you speaking. And I always say to them, there is no need for Aisha to speak. Because we have many people who is speaking louder and very boldly and more courageous than even Aisha would. We have a Peter Aka that will speak loudly. And of course, those voices must be brought up. And I want to say to you, you are my inspiration. Every day I look in your face, I know that indeed, Nigeria has a way to go, and that way is going to be at the top. But let me say to every one of us, my brother, I see you, I greet you, but you know this country, until every one of us has risen, we all are down. And so I stand before you today and say, let every one of us be a preach. Let every one of us stand tall. Most times they will say that it cannot be done. Yes. And according to his word, he said, if you think you can, you can. Yes. If you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you are right. And it is time for us as Nigerians to say, yes, we can. Because indeed, it is the people that the power belongs to. The highest office in the land is the office of the citizen. And when the citizens say yes, nobody can say no. And when the citizens say it's okay, nobody can say otherwise. And when the citizens say Nigeria is okay, okay. Yeah. And I want to say to every one of us here, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you glad tidings. I always say to people, I want to get to a place as an old woman where I will sit in a park and I'll be talking by the grace of God to my grandchildren. And I will tell them of the Nigeria of today. A Nigeria where people will be abducted and this country will do nothing. I will tell them about a Nigeria where access to good quality education is dependent on the economic status of one's family. I will tell them about a Nigeria where people had to pray before they traveled, not because they want to pray, but because they're afraid of being abducted. I will tell them about the Nigeria where terrorists had the guts to come online and mock our military men. And you know what? I hope my grandchildren will look at me and say, Grandma, you are lying. You know why they will say, Grandma, you are lying? Because by the grace of God, the Nigeria that our grandchildren will experience is the Nigeria that will be okay. It's the Nigeria that when you take your green passport, you will be respected all over the world. It will be a Nigeria where people will come in for medical tourism. The same way we had people coming in, kings coming in all the way from Saudi Arabia for them to have their treatment at UCH in Ibadan. We would have a Nigeria where access to good quality education will not be dependent on the economic status of one's family. We would have a Nigeria, by the grace of God, where the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. We will have a Nigeria where the roads are not even what you talk about because they are all good. And then they will wonder, what Nigeria are you talking about? Because the Nigeria that they will know will be Nigeria that will be among the top 5 countries in the world. The Nigeria where our youth are not behind. The Nigeria where you're talking about technology, you're talking about science, you're talking about innovation, you're talking about ICT, and will be at the top. That is the Nigeria that I will say. And I know that's the Nigeria that every one of us here is sympathizing. And guess what? Even today, we can get to that Nigeria. The only thing that has held us back is lack of good quality leadership. And the time has come when we will no longer be afraid. The time has come when we will no longer be held back by our fears. When people say to you, this cannot happen, well, we say to them, we will make it happen by the grace of God. That indeed Nigeria can be okay, Nigeria will be okay, and we will make Nigeria okay by the grace of God. It's all about fear. We grew up being told that we cannot achieve a lot of things. And over time, we've imbibed those fears. We've taken on those fears. We've accepted those fears. They are just fears. And if we do not allow those fears to hold us back, we'll be as free as the air and we will dare. And I'm going to say what Jim Rohn said. He said, if you want to set a goal, Set a big enough goal so that in the process of achieving that goal, you become somebody worth becoming. It is time for us to become a nation worth becoming. It is time for us to stand and know that indeed we can get it there. The next time they say to you, this is an Igbo man, or this is Hausa man, or this is Yoruba woman, or this is an Esako woman, or Nupe, or Kajuri, that you should not associate. Tell them, no, that indeed we all are Nigerians, and we are affected by the things that happen in Nigeria. And if there is good governance in Nigeria, then every one of us will be a beneficiary of that good governance. If an Aisha can come all the way from Kano in Ghana and stand before you today and speak, then every other Aisha all over the world, all over Nigeria, that are Nigerians can also stand. The only thing that people ask for is opportunity. The easiest way to break the shackles of poverty, they have always said, is education. And we have an okay that both of them are interested in education, and they're interested. And I see a lot of people today whom ordinarily might not have been here, myself included, if not for that education. And today, I will say to you all that the voices that we have is not for us alone. The education that we have is not for us alone. It's for millions of others who didn't have the opportunity that we had to be educated, to have the voice. And so therefore, when we stand, we not only stand for ourselves, we stand for those millions. And when we make decisions, we not only make it for ourselves, we make it for all those millions. And for every one of us, when it is that time in the future that your children or your grandchildren will ask you, what did you do for Nigeria? Do not be among the ones that will lie and say they did something when they didn't do anything. Be among the ones that will proudly say to them, indeed, I took a stand for Nigeria. Indeed, I was there for Nigeria. Indeed, I fought for Nigeria. Indeed, I gave all for Nigeria. Because at the end of the day, we all will be asked questions. Even if not by our peers, by our children, by the future generation. We must unite right now. There must be a handshake across the Niger. When they tell you about the generational hatred, ask them, where did it lead them to? Where has it led Nigeria to go? We all are brothers and sisters, and we must never forget that. Remember what I said, we're united in the bad things that happen to us. We can also be united in finding solutions to those things that are affecting us. And if we all come together, we would get there. I will not take too much of your time, because I know there are speakers who are here who will motivate every one of us and inspire every one of us. But I will not leave here without saying to you, remember, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you're right. And most importantly, and here I will shut up because I know sometimes I tend to talk too much. I will say to you, life is not being a pizza man. I'm going to end here by very seriously saying to every one of us that life is not a pizza man. It doesn't do delivery. You must go out and get what you want. And I think right now, Nigeria wants what? Oh, thank you. Greatest Nigerian people.
here by the grace of God. Thank you.
Okay,